Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name's Emma LaFave, and today we are going to be painting a cute little bakery storefront illustration in my brand new accordion sketchbook from Etchlab. Be sure to check the description in this video because I'm partnering with them for an Instagram giveaway of one of these accordion sketchbooks. So let's jump into the video so I can tell you a little bit more about this sketchbook as well as getting started with our illustration. Let's get started. Okay guys, so today we are going to be looking at a sketchbook that I got from Etchlab. I already own the smaller version of this accordion sketchbook and I'm going to show you how I've used it so far, but they sent me the bigger one, which I'm super excited about because these sketchbooks are really fun to use because you can be really creative with them. So first of all, the pages inside, they are 100% cotton, cold pressed. They are the exact same paper that is in the white sketchbooks I have from them, which I absolutely love. I use them for like almost all of my tutorials, all of my paintings. Love, love, love those sketchbooks and the paper. And this sketchbook has the exact same paper. It's just in a different format and it's a really fun format. Like I said, you can be super creative with it. So I'm going to show you that. So this size of the larger one is 5.2 inches by 8.3 inches. I have the smaller one. I can't remember the exact dimensions, but it's smaller, but it's a lot of fun. So it's an accordion style, which means it folds out. So I'm going to show you how I use the smaller one. I'm still not done. I've done like a continuous landscape of the four seasons, and I'm planning to add some people, maybe like my family throughout the landscapes. But it's just really fun because you can be so creative with this. So it just keeps going. So I went from summer to fall, and then it goes into winter slowly. Little village with a skating rink, the mountains in the back, and then finally spring. So I'm still trying to figure out how I want to add people in there. And the great thing about this paper, like it doesn't buckle too badly or warp. I can use the back. The paper you can use the front and back. So I could do a whole different scene on the back and it's not like it's like super warped or hard to deal with. And the way I painted on this one, I just folded it out sections at a time and I put painter's tape down and just taped it to my table so I could paint. But yeah, this was a super fun project that I kind of did just for me. There's no tutorial on this. I'm trying to learn how to paint for myself at times and not always film absolutely everything. And this was a lot of fun and I'm excited to kind of add little tiny people in there and then figure out what I want to do for the back. But once I got this second one, I was thinking it would be really fun to figure out what to do for this book. So I'm just going to show you. It's the same thing, accordion style, a bit bigger. And you can use it like a sketchbook or like just opening it like that if you like and flip the pages. Or like I did, you can fold it out. So what I was thinking of using this one for is doing some more building illustrations. So if you saw the sneak peek of my Patreon exclusive tutorial of the flower shop, people really seem to like that. So I was thinking of doing individual buildings, maybe like storefronts or something like that on each page. And so when you fold it all out, you have all these different buildings, maybe houses, I don't know. I was thinking of doing that. And then maybe on the back, I was even thinking of doing like a character development one where I just make up a bunch of character illustrations. And so when I fold it out, I have a bunch of different characters. There's just so many things you could do with these sketchbooks that are not your conventional sketchbook where you just like kind of open the pages like that. I just feel like you can be so creative with this. And if you guys have any more other ideas, especially that I could do on the back side of this one, let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below of how you would use it, because I am also doing a giveaway. I am partnering with Etchlab to do a giveaway of this accordion sketchbook. So I'm going to put the details down below in the description. So please make sure to check that out if you are interested. And yeah, so what I was thinking of doing today in this, I'm thinking I am going to do the building illustrations. So we're going to start off with a storefront today as my first little tutorial in this sketchbook. And if you guys are interested in continuing seeing the storefronts and buildings that I'm going to be painting in here, let me also know in the comments below if this is a little series that you'd like to see on my YouTube channel that I continue. Okay, so let's jump in and get started. Okay, so the materials that I'm going to be using for this, I'm just using my plain mechanical pencil. I have my kneaded eraser, and I also have this Pigma Micron pen. It is waterproof. I love this for all of my ink drawings. And then I'll be using my Winsor Newton Professional Watercolors later, and probably my Craftimo brushes. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the illustration. And you can either use a ruler for this, and yeah, let's just jump right in. Okay, so for today's illustration, I decided to create a bakery storefront. And as you can see, I'm going really fast and you can't really see the drawing all that well. So I'm just going to kind of explain what I was doing. I did decide to use a ruler so I can make the doors and the windows nice and straight. The reason why this is not in real time is because this is a very long video. It took a long time to film. But also, I want you, while doing your own storefront, to kind of design what you would like to look for illustration-wise. So make it your own. You can always look up reference photos as well. I was not using a reference photo for this. I was just kind of playing around. And my advice is to make it as simple as possible. So, do a door, do like a storefront window. I did a couple of awnings. I did a couple of flower pots in front of the windows, and I just tried to make it simple. I did try to film one of these before that I did not release, and it was too complicated. It did not look good, and I was just getting frustrated. So make it as simple as possible. The only thing that will make it look a bit more detailed, I find, so it's not looking as flat, is the doorway. Have it a little bit further back and then on an angle, as you can see where the door is. So it just looks like it's further back. And then we're going to add some shadows to it, which is going to make it look like it has a bit more depth. I mean, you don't have to do that. It can be, on the same level as the front window. It does not have to be further in. Totally up to you. Make it as simple as possible. But yeah, so I'm not really explaining how I drew this because I want you to take a creative liberty with your own drawings. And yeah, just have fun with it. So like I said, I decided to do a bakery, put a little cake in the window, cupcakes, just simple shapes for that. Don't make it too complicated. And again, it's not realistic, right? It's just for fun. So just simple shapes, circles, cylinders, all that stuff. And now we're going to get into painting. Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. As you can see, I decided to do this peachy color. I just mixed some permanent rose and a bit of yellow ochre to make this peachy color, and now I'm adding in shadows. So to add a shadow color, just add its contrasting color, which for pink would be green. I added that tiny little bit of green to my pink mixture, peachy pink mixture, and I'm just adding the shadows in the doorway because you want to make it look like it is further away. And the awning over top would create more of a shadow on that door. So this is this kind of detail is what is going to set your illustration to look a bit more realistic. There, I needed to kind of just fix it up a bit. But adding the shadows is really what's going to make it pop. So I have that permanent rose and yellow, cadmium yellow mixture. Just light for this little bakery storefront. And then again, just saying that if you add a little bit of green, you will get that shadow color. So I went over the whole thing first with the pink, and then I'm going back in to add the shadows. So I went around the door frame and added in the shadows. I didn't want it to mix with that bottom part under the window, so that's why I did that after. And now I'm just mixing a bit more. I'm going to do the sign above. The whole thing was kind of just winging it. I didn't really plan anything out, so that it's hard to explain because I was just having fun with it. But yeah, so you're just going to want to cover your whole storefront with your color, and then you're going to start adding your shadows. Okay, so the next I thought I needed to do something for the inside of the window. I didn't want it to be so clear that you could see everything in there. That would just be a lot more detailed to do. So I decided to take my pen and just really lightly sketch kind of a head in there and like a blackboard and like the cash register, but not even fully. They're not even full lines. They're just little sketches. And then you're going to see after, like I'm doing a little bit of shading in the corners with my pen. You're going to see after I'm going to fill it in with like a yellow ochre color and then a bit of neutral tint. So yeah, I'm going to fill the whole inside of the window with yellow ochre. So it looks like the lights are on. I didn't want to overwhelm myself with detail inside. I'm like, again, like I said, I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible. But you did want to have something in the window so it didn't look too flat. So just doing that little sketch with a pen, not full hard lines, just like little sketchy movements. Like you can barely even see the person's head in there, but it's like kind of like a general shape. And then I added some neutral tint, which is like a grayish color. It's like a warm grayish color, but you can use just a light wash of black or a light wash of Payne's gray. And I just added that to the corners, especially underneath the awning. Right there, I'm adding the neutral tint, and then like around the person's head, the blackboard, just adding a little bit of it. So the whole background of the inside of the window is wet, and I just keep adding more of this yellow ochre and the neutral tint. And I'm going to do the same thing inside the door window and then inside the door as well. And again, just adding that neutral tint. There's no like actual science to where I'm putting this or specifics. I'm just kind of, because I've never actually done this before. I've never done a window like this. I'm just kind of playing around and seeing what looks good. I think it looked pretty good. But yeah, and if you feel like you messed up or you went too dark or too whatever with this, you can always take your paper towel, press it down, lift out some of that color, and then try again. But the one thing you want to do is you want to try and take that grayish color and put it where there be the shadows. So underneath the awnings, in the corners of the windows, and where any little dark areas would be. So everything is still pretty wet, so that's why it's blending nicely. If it is starting to dry on you and it's not blending anymore, you can wait until the whole thing is dry, and then you can add your darker color in, wash and dry off your brush, and just kind of blend it out. Or you can wet up the whole inside of the window again, just to get those blends. Because if you're getting some of those water blooms from watermarks because certain areas are drying too fast, you can just wait for the whole thing to dry and just blend out lines, or you can wet the whole thing up and do some more wet on wet. Totally whatever works for you. But again, don't worry too much about the inside part, because if you do get those blooms, you know, it could just be like a little bit of texture, or maybe it might look like some sort of shine from a light bulb. Who knows? Just kind of play around. And I just keep adding shadows just to play and just to see what it looks like. So the one thing with these illustrations, which I think I said in a video before, is that the beauty of this is that you don't have to work fast. You can take your time, and I feel personally that you can't really overwork one of these paintings. The more detail you add, just the more detail it has. So have fun with it. So now for these top windows, I just decided to use the neutral tint grayish color. I just made it easy. Maybe it's like a little apartment above and nobody's home, the lights are off. So I just decided to go with the dark gray color. So I filled the whole window in with a light wash of it, and then I added some dark bits. You can see it's not really blended really well. I will go back in and kind of blend it out, but I'm just kind of trying to get a feel of what I want it to look like. So I added in those darker bits without blending them. See, now I go back and I blend them. Just trying to kind of figure out what vibe I'm going for. It's honestly all about trial and error and just playing around. So I always try to make the corners of the windows darker, and then the middle a little bit lighter, going a little bit darker around the plant areas. And yeah, just filling that in. Keep it going. And then after, I forgot to mention, I do use Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White to go over some of the door frames, like the door frames and the trim around the windows after, so you will see that. So if you have white gouache or white ink or white gel pen, whatever works, get that out for later. Okay, so now you can see that I am adding some burnt umber to the top portion because we are going to be doing some bricks over top. So I'm just doing a backwash of a light burnt umber wash. Just filling it in nice and evenly, and then later Once that is dry, we are going to add some bricks. I just have this tiny little filbert brush. I wish I had a flat brush to make them a bit sharper, but I don't have a small enough one for the bricks, but that's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in with a bit of a darker wash of the permanent rose and cadmium yellow just to brighten it up a bit on top, just filling it in. I thought it looked a little bit too light. Making it a bit more saturated. You don't have to, again, and you also don't have to use this pinkish color. You could totally do whatever color you like. Just have fun with it. And then again, we will add some shadows in a little bit. I'm just going to place this color all over just the door frame area. And then where I'm painting now, we're going to add the shadows in. So I'm just wetting it up with the color first. Adding that green. I'm doing a little bit of a shadow. So that part's dry right now. So I'm adding the shadow. Then I'm washing off my brush, drying it, and then I'm blending it out. So those are two different ways that you can add the shadow. You can add it to an already dried area like I'm doing here, and then I wash and dry off my brush, and I blend it out. Or like where I'm going now, it was already kind of wet, and I'm just adding the shadow in there so it blends evenly as well. Pick whatever way works the best for you. So now I'm just going to add a little bit more darker pink color to the sign area, just to make that stand out a bit more. Also starting to add the pink color to the door as well, which is going to be a little bit darker in color because it is further away inside, so it's going to have a bit more of a shadow to it. And now I'm just adding that gray, I think it's just a light wash of black to the ground below. Again, it's going to be darker into that doorway, so I'm just doing a light wash of gray or light wash of black. And then I'm adding a bit more of the saturated color closer to the doorway, so there would be more of a shadow. And now I'm just going to start to speed this up a bit because it's just blending and adding shadows. Going to add a little bit of like a bluish color to the awnings. They're going to be a bit more white. So I'm just adding the slightest bit of shadow to those just so they have some color. And now I'm just adding some greenery to the plants in the front, and I'm just making little white spaces so I can put flowers in there after. Just using sap green and then taking a little bit of darker perline green for that. Just tapping it in. A little bit of a black sign on the door. Making the trim around the windows and the door a light gray. Making the pots above pink. Adding a little bit darker color just for a bit of shadow. And now I'm just going to go in and add some blue to the flowers, like a bluish purple. You can pick whatever color you like for that, just making them circles at this point. You can do a little bit more detail later. Filling the plants above, just a green. Again, making it as simple as possible, adding a little bit darker green on top. And then we're going to start doing like the little cakes and stuff inside. And you can make them whatever color you like. Honestly, just have fun with it. Nothing specific here, little details, little flowers on the cakes, whatever you like. And now I'm just going in under the windows, creating more shadows. Again, that's what's going to make things stand out. I feel like I do like around the door and the windows and everything a few times just to deepen those shadows. And now I'm taking that Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof white ink. So again, you can use white gouache, white acrylic, white gel pen, whatever, just to make the trim around the windows a bit brighter. And I used it a little bit on the sign and below, just for little bits of detail. Doing some little flowers on the top. You can't really see them, but that's fine. And then just filling in the cupcake bottoms. Adding a bit more shadow and depth. Just seeing what I'd like to do there. So now I'm doing the sign. I'm going to write Emma's Bakery. Just going to add, oh no, I'm not doing that yet. I'm doing the bricks. So again, like I said, I have a filbert brush that just makes like these kind of like brick-like shapes. And the trick with bricks, you do one brick, and then over that one single brick, you're going to have where two meet. So they're not all in a row where they're going to look stacked. You have to have them kind of, what's the word? Staggered, to make them look a little bit more like bricks. And now I'm just taking my neutral tint color, writing bakery. I'm going to write Emma's, in front of it. Name your bakery or your storefront, whatever you like. Then I'm going to take my bleed-proof white again, just drying it. Oh, no, I'm adding shadow. Adding shadow to the windows. Again, make it stand out. Now I'm taking the bleed-proof white and I'm just going over the letters so it looked like that gray part was the shadow of the letters. So it looks like they're popping out a bit more. And adding the white to the words, the open sign, little bits of shadow on the cupcakes, just little details. Just have fun and take time and play. Add the smallest details that will make your viewer go, wow. I'm just adding a little bit of gold to the door handle and to the cake stand. And finally, just using my Micron pen to add a little bit more detail to the words, just a bit more shadow. And there, that's honestly it. That is our little storefront bakery. So my biggest pieces of advice when doing this, make it as simple as you can. Add a bunch of detail, take your time, and have fun with it. And just be creative. Create the little storefront you would want and have fun. So that's it. There is our little illustration of Emma's bakery. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really hope you liked it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram for even more. Have a great day, guys. Bye.